Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Flame Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, along with only Kareem this week. So let's get right into the sports. Just like last week, there weren't a whole lot of sports, but there were some very important matchups going down. So let's get right into the NFL Week 6 recap. We have the Dolphins spanking the Jets 24-0. You'll love to see it, and I keep telling myself, I was like, oh, this is the only shutout this season for any team. And it came with the Dolphins, which is like, it was like the whole joke of the league last year, the whole tank for Tua, which did work. But, and then there were two times where I was following that game, and I thought that there was a chance that the Jets were going to score. It was like 3rd and 3 at, like, the Jets, at the Miami, like 30 or something. So, even if they didn't get it, it would have been a 47-yard, pretty easy field goal, I would say. And Joe Flacco took a 28-yard sack from Emmanuel Ogbah, who's actually played really well for the Dolphins this season. He has a few sacks, but 28-yard sack for Joe Flacco. I mean, when you've been in the league that long, there's just no reason to make that mistake. Just step out of the pocket and throw the ball away. It didn't make any sense, but I'm glad that he did. And then the other chance was another 3rd and 3 late in the game. No way that the Jets were going to win, but I still didn't want to allow any points. So, 3rd and 3, they incomplete pass to Brashad Perryman, and then a 5-yard gain to someone. It's first down on 4th down, and then I'm like, oh no, now they're going to score. Then they get down to like the 5-yard line, 4th and goal, and incomplete pass, and I was like, yes. They didn't do it with like 2 minutes left, and then Tua came into the game. You'll love to see it. Tua, with the big lead, there's no reason not to. First play with a handoff, and then completed 2 passes for 9 yards. But we will touch on Tua Tagovailoa later. As you all know, he's now the starter, which I don't know about that. But that's it for that game. Absolute annihilation from the Dolphins again in back-to-back weeks. Week 5 against the 49ers and now against the Jets, who now the Dolphins are back to 3-3, and that AFC East, the Bills haven't been playing that well this recently. They lost big time to the Titans on Tuesday Night Football, and then just this past Monday they lost 26-23. And so now, Dolphins are 3-3, Bills are 4-2. The Bills are playing the Jets this week, so they'll probably get to 5 wins, and the Dolphins have a bye, so they will fall probably 1.5 games back out of first place. But and the only reason we're there is because of the Pats losing to the Broncos, which was big, man. Cam Newton, he was rusty, obviously not playing and or practicing for almost 3 weeks now because he was one of the 5 or 6 Patriots to test positive for COVID-19. But he's back, he's healthy. He looked rusty on Sunday against the Broncos. And Dolphins in second place. Still don't think we're gonna make the playoffs or anything but like that, but it builds up the confidence on the team. So and then that's gonna be it for that game. And then onto the Cardinals and Cowboys. Oh man, did Andy Dalton look bad. It was absolutely horrible. Ezekiel Elliott, he fumbled it twice in a span of 5 plays, lost both of them. Cardinals scored on both of the fumbles. So, it's not that, even if they did score on those 2 drives, I don't even think it would have mattered. The Cardinals just looked leaps and bounds better than the Cowboys, cruising to a 38-10 victory. That offense is hurting without Dak Prescott, obviously. But it's just now. With the NFC East being an absolute just pile of just bad this year, with the Cowboys with their 2 wins are still in first place. So you put any other team in that division, and that is an easy first place, unless you like the Jets or whatever. But did not look good for the Cowboys on Monday night, and I expect more of the same coming up. They play the Washington football team this year, so it could be a close game. Everyone was praising Andy Dalton for being one of the best backups in the league. Did not look like it at all on Monday, but that's going to do it for this game. And then the Titans and Texans, this was a lot closer than everyone was thinking. Obviously, the Texans only having one win so far through 6 weeks is very surprising. Because you look at that talent, obviously no DeAndre Hopkins anymore, but you still have Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller. David Johnson is not a bad running back at all. But they forced OT against Derrick Henry and the Titans, who rushed for 207 yards with the game-winning touchdown, and out of the Wildcat formation. That was a nice trick play by them. But Tannehill with another 3 TDs, 2 to A.J. Brown, yet again proving he is the top wide receiver in the game. So the Titans win that game, have a easy first place in the AFC South at a 5-0. They obviously missed a week due to COVID, but that game, it was a lot closer than everyone thought, but the Titans ended up pulling it out. So like everyone says, a win is a win, so you'll take them any way you can get them. So now on to the Titans' opponent for this week, which is the Steelers, who absolutely demolished the Browns 38-7. Baker Mayfield was taken out in the game in the third quarter, for Case Keenum. It was two things. He wasn't playing well, and his rib injury, that is what Kevin Stefanski came out and said that was the main reason why he got pulled from the game. I think he was just making something up because Baker was not playing well. I think he had 2 interceptions, just could not drive the ball. But Steelers also in first place, also at 5-0, and play the Titans this week, which is going to be a very good matchup. Definitely should watch that game if you can. But Steelers with an easy win, 38-7 over the Cleveland Browns. And on to the next game, which is another NFC East game. Giants and the Washington football team. Giants barely squeak it out, 20-19. Washington went for it for 2 after they scored a touchdown late in the game. Did not get it, which is kind of ironic because the Dolphins did the exact same thing against the Washington last year when we played them, and it did not work for the Dolphins. But obviously 2 very bad teams here, and it showed it. Sloppy game. Daniel Jones did have a few nice throws, one to Darius Slayton in the corner of the end zone. But, just bad game, bad teams, and, you got what you expected with that. And the Packers also got demolished by the Buccaneers, 38-10. It looked like all Packers the first few drives, and then Buccaneers just came back, answered. Aaron Rodgers had not thrown an interception in first 157 pass attempts this season, throws 2 in the span of 2 or 3 throws, and after that it was just all downhill for the Packers and all uphill for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Rob Gronkowski finally getting his first touchdown as a Buccaneer from Tom Brady. Obviously, we've all seen that connection so many times up in New England, and, finally get to see it down in Tampa Bay. And, it was an easy win for the Buccaneers, but it was a tough first quarter, but they scored 38 unanswered points just after the pick 6 from Rodgers. It was just, you could tell the Packers were just not in the game at all. I mean, everyone was predicting it was going to be a really good game. I thought it was going to be, back and forth, game-winning field goal, 38-35, high scoring. But no, it was 38-10. Um, that is not what anyone thought. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the games in Week 6. Kareem, if you want to say anything about these matchups, I gonna go ahead and give it over to you.
Yeah, I think the most eye-opening one had to be the Browns versus the Steelers. This was a huge Week 6 game for Cleveland. Obviously, coming off a big win against arguably the best defense in the league, and then they were coming against arguably the other best defensive team in the league in Pittsburgh. Obviously, they've got guys like T.J. Watt. I think he may have been out. No, he was not out.
No, but I mean, T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden, Bud Dupree, Devin Bush. I think he did get injured, but he was still active for half of that game. But just absolutely dominant defense for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, offensively they couldn't get the run game going. I think they were held under 50 yards. Um, Obviously, a horrible game for Baker Mayfield, taken out in the third quarter. Odell obviously not happy on the sideline. You can see that there after the game. Jarvis playing with broken ribs. It's just not the best mix for a winning team. Still, the Browns 4-2, even though it feels like an 0-6. Baker Mayfield said it best.
Yeah, a total of 165 yards through the air and 75 on the ground. Just bad game for the Browns. Yeah, dominant performance by the Steelers defense, though.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give props. James Conner had a good game on the ground. Obviously, Chase Claypool doing his thing, another, rushing touchdown for a wide receiver. And then, I mean, Roethlisberger just connecting on every pass. Browns defense got to show up. I think they just didn't come ready to play. I think they thought that the Steelers are fake, not a real winning team, just because they haven't played a winning team like the Browns and the Colts. Because obviously the Colts, I mean, one of the best teams defensively in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Browns were ready for the punch from the Steelers.
Yeah, they were not ready for this game at all. But the funny thing is Ben Roethlisberger only threw for 162 yards, and that's confusing. How did they score 38 points? Well, an interception, pick six by Minka Fitzpatrick. Still wish the Dolphins had him. One of the dumbest trades we've ever made. But I mean, 129 yards on the ground. James Conner with over 100. Benny Snell, Chase Claypool with his touchdown. Even Big Ben got 5 yards. But it's and then you look at the Steelers receiving wise, and you have guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Eric Ebron, who had a really nice 2019 season with the Indianapolis Colts with Andrew Luck throwing the ball. But no, it's Chase Claypool, 4 for 74 yards. And, I mean, James Washington has really stepped up for them. Deontay Johnson had a strong first few games before he got the concussion. But, I mean, guys like this that you just didn't really realize as a, like, big, like a lethal weapon for the Steelers, it's have really emerged with how they've been playing. But 38-7 final score.
I mean, that's the thing about the Steelers. It's not just Ben Roethlisberger making plays, James Conner making plays, Juju Smith-Schuster making plays, T.J. Watt making plays. It's like a bunch of guys that, I mean, the Browns didn't play Claypool well enough, clearly. They thought he was a one-game wonder. That's the thing about the Steelers. They've got guys you don't expect, like Claypool or James Washington. And they come out and they do what they're supposed to do. They do what the coach tells them. And, I mean, just Steelers came out way more prepared than the Browns and clearly outclassed them and outplayed them.
So, I mean, sloppy game by the Browns, clean game by the Steelers. That's as simple as you can put it, really. But, another thing is, like Kareem said, Baker Mayfield, 4-2 has never felt more like 0-6. And it's honestly the truth because the Browns, they've had locker room issues. Um, they've had, just uh, obviously losing Nick Chubb. I mean, that's even though you won that game against the Cowboys, it's like I've won, but at what cost? Because you lose Nick Chubb, a top 5 running back in the league. Some may argue that he's the best, but no, that still goes to Derrick Henry, I would say. But you know, and it's just all these things just keep adding on for the Browns, and even last year they had issues with them signing Kareem Hunt. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's a dumb move," because everyone didn't like Kareem Hunt because after what had happened. Uh, but I mean, it's paid off. I mean, he's playing well this year, but it's just it's been tough for the Browns. You're winning games, but at the same time you're winning the battles, but you're losing the war. It's kind of one of those things I think with the Browns, and every week it's like, oh, what's gonna happen now? It's I mean, yeah, 4-2. I mean, prime position for for a wild card spot, but it's just I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Browns. Um, but yeah, Kareem. I mean, you follow them more closely than I do, so I mean, I ask the question, why do you think this is happening? Like why are they, always down in the dumps? Why do they think that they're, not winning? I mean, obviously,
I mean, I just think that they they can't get into a rhythm on both sides of the ball, and it's just not. And then it continues, and that's the thing about the Browns. They start bad habits, and those habits turn into greater things, and end up costing them the season, costing them the playoffs, costing them obviously what is the main goal of a Super Bowl title, the first one for Cleveland. But I don't know. I can't see it happening this year. And if the Browns come out against Cincinnati and play the way they played against Pittsburgh, I find it a very good chance Case Keenum gets to start in Week 8. That's all I got to say about that. Very disappointed with the way the Browns prepped for the game. Obviously, Stefanski, great at taking blame, and obviously he did. Odell clearly unhappy with what's been happening. He's unhappy with losing to teams like Steelers. He's not happy beating teams like the Bengals or the Cowboys, or a bunch of other teams. He wants to beat good teams. He does not like losing to good teams. So yeah,
yeah, it was his problem with New York. He was stuck on a bad team. They weren't winning. He wanted to leave. He did. You thought, in going into that season when they got him, you're like, this team is gonna be one of the best in the NFL. They've built up that defense. They've built up that offense with getting Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., drafting Baker Mayfield. They've built up that offensive line. They got a solid tight end in David Njoku. Obviously, he hasn't played much this year. I mean, they signed Austin Hooper this year. Hasn't been great, but coming on as of late.
He's been actually doing quite well in the past.
Yeah, the first few weeks were rough, but
I mean,
it's
the targets.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Browns. I mean, if you guys keep playing sloppy games, I mean, I think like what you said, if if they do somehow lose to the Bengals in Week 7, I would not be surprised if Case Keenum got the start, and heck, maybe even Baker Mayfield is on the trade block.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Right now, we're seeing more of what we saw last year, the year before in college from Baker Mayfield. Right now, before coming into Pittsburgh, we saw a very mature Baker, a mature Odell, who just played the game, didn't talk too much, loved being leaders, and didn't talk too much. But now, I mean, we're just seeing a whole repeat of what we've seen in the past years. Immature, can't keep their poise, can't keep their composure, and are not being leaders and are clearly not executing for their team in the way coaches need them to. And I think that currently is definitely one of the main problems for Cleveland.
Yeah, you're now seeing the Odell that was banned from the LSU campus for 2 years. We gotta touch on that because that's actually the next thing that we're gonna talk about. It's he handed out $2,000 in $100 bills after LSU won the national championship game, and what everyone has said, like Justin Jefferson, who came out of LSU, it's Jarvis Landry and not Baker Mayfield, but Odell Beckham Jr. have really helped through the recruiting progress. Getting people to come there, especially wide receivers. And now that he's banned for 2 years, I don't follow.
It's shown already.
Yeah, it's shown already. LSU is not winning a lot of games.
This draft class for LSU.
Yeah, they got 6 guys drafted in the first round.
So obviously.
Yeah, they've lost. That's almost 1/4. That is more than 1/4 of your starting roster last year.
Yep.
So big blow for LSU.
So what do you think about that? Do you think he should have been banned for 2 years?
He definitely should have been banned for some sort of time. Should it have been 2 years? Maybe. I think what they did was right. It had to be done. They did it.
Yeah. I don't really know much about it, so I'm not going to speak.
Yeah, we don't want to put words in anyone's mouth.
I don't know what side to take here. I'd still like to research it a bit more because I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I do think if what they're saying is he handed out $2,000.
Yeah, no, he definitely did that. He definitely did that.
Yeah. So what they're saying is he handed out $2,000 worth of $100 bills, and yes, of course, he's got to get banned. They have to take it how they take it. They did the right thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it should have been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, lifetime. But
definitely not lifetime. That's a bit far.
Yes, but I don't know what side to take here.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what to say about this because I just don't know much about it.
Yeah, they did the right thing, and that's all we're gonna say about that. But some other things to talk about in the NFL. We have Yannick Ngakoue traded to the Ravens. Saxonville is reforming, but in Baltimore, with Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue back together. That defense, he wasn't on that team. He wasn't on the 2017 Jags.
Yeah. I thought you mean now for Baltimore.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But all they need now is Jalen Ramsey. But and it's complete, and Telvin Smith. But
Oh yeah, Telvin Smith.
Oh yeah, he would be nice.
But he's getting older.
Yeah, he is. But so anyway, Yannick Ngakoue traded to the Ravens for a 3rd-round pick and a conditional 5th-round pick. And if you don't know what a conditional pick is, it is where if that team gets a certain amount of wins, then they don't get the pick. But if they fall under that amount of wins, then they do get the pick. So that's what happened with Kenyon Drake last year from the Dolphins to the Cardinals. I'm not sure if we ended up getting that pick. It doesn't matter. It was a 6th-round pick. But so anyway, Yannick Ngakoue to the Ravens. I think this is a good move by the Ravens. Obviously, they're doing it in their bye week because whenever you switch teams or go to a new team or whatever, you do have to get 6 negative COVID-19 tests in order to play, and doing it in their bye week just makes the most sense. Because obviously, if they were to do that at the trade deadline, he wouldn't be able to play for that in week 9. So smart move by the Ravens. I like it. Yannick Ngakoue has obviously proved that he is a very, very good defensive end. 42.5 sacks through 4 years and 5 games. He was with the Vikings this year. He's been doing okay. I think he has maybe 3 sacks. Obviously not the numbers he was putting up in Jacksonville, but still very solid. That only bolsters an already really strong Baltimore defense. And, that just pushes them. That's going to help them push them to the Super Bowl, to the AFC Championship game. Like I said, I said Ravens Saints in the NFL special in the Super Bowl could happen with with the Ravens. Not so sure about the Saints anymore, but yeah, I like that move. Solid. Give it 9 out of 10. Because they gave up nothing for him.
Yes.
Because that upside is so high, the ceiling for him is so high that it's so worth it. It's essentially what the Raiders traded for Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I know you were joking about bring Telvin Smith.
Yeah, obviously.
Because here's the thing. Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters, doesn't really...
Yeah, no, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. But, I mean, obviously...
That would cause a lot of locker room.
Yeah, that defensive line is all shifting to Baltimore.
Scary.
It is very scary.
I mean, you can compare it to Cleveland if you want, defensive line-wise. They're definitely giving Cleveland a run for their money.
I would say Baltimore's is better. Just...
It's better.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Because Sheldon Richardson, I mean, he's not as good as he was, 2 years ago,
Well, he hasn't been playing bad.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing bad.
Definitely.
Yeah, Myles Garrett is up there for Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive MVP right now.
Yeah. But...
I mean, I think the faults with the Browns right now, linebackers are fine.
All right, we've already talked about the Browns. Yeah,
I'd like to talk about the safeties.
Browns
need to pursue Earl Thomas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't get how he's still a free agent.
Because Andrew Sendejo, needs to leave. And I will leave the link in the description for a petition to get Andrew Sendejo. There is a petition on change.org to get Andrew Sendejo off the Browns immediately. The Browns need to sign Earl Thomas to a 3-year deal and remove Sendejo immediately. That's all I gotta say. I'm done with the Browns. Let's talk about
another move that the Dolphins tried to make but end up falling short was bringing in Damon Harrison off of Seattle's practice squad. He declined the offer, even though he would have been a starter for us. Easy. Even though he's getting up there in age, he is still productive. You saw what he did with the Lions last year. And, he's on a practice squad. I mean, unless an injury or something like that happens to one of the Seattle defensive tackles, he's never going to play. He's never going to play. And if he were to go to Miami, he would play. And I think the Dolphins are really trying to make a push here. I don't think they'll get into the playoffs, but maybe next year. But so anyway, I mean, I would have done it because you're going to play in Miami. But, I mean, Damon Snacks Harrison declined the offer. A little unfortunate. Would have liked him to see him down in South Beach, but it's whatever. But we do have a player potentially going to Seattle. That is what it looks like right now. Antonio Brown. Oh man, he comes off the commissioner's exempt list after next week, week 8, after serving his 8-game suspension. I think they would go ahead and sign him like right now, over the weekend, and then get his 6 negative COVID tests, and then he'd be able to play week 9. I mean, I think this is a smart move because Seattle, they are 5-1, right? 5-1.
No, they're 5-0.
Oh
they're
yeah.
6-1 maybe.
Yeah, here. Seattle. Let's see. Seattle is 5-0. They are 5-0, and I mean, bringing in Antonio Brown, obviously a playmaker, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I think in 2 of them he had more than 1,500 yards. I mean, absolute monster with the Steelers. Traded to the Raiders. That whole that thing failed. And then Belichick and Kraft gave him another chance in New England. That ship sank immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, he played one game. He played one game for the Pats. The allegations came out, and he never played again for the Patriots and was released. And now he's coming off the commissioner exempt list. He would be able to play in week 9 probably. And I mean, I think this is a smart move. He did work out with Geno Smith and Russell Wilson, the 2 Seattle QBs, over the summer. So A smart move would obviously kick David Moore out of the 3 wide receiver sets. Just imagine this. Tyler Lockett, Antonio Brown, and DK Metcalf. What's the depth chart order there? Lockett, Metcalf, AB?
I don't know. That's that. I mean,
AB, Lockett, Metcalf? Metcalf is your number 3 receiver? No
that's
matter
like
where you put it,
regardless.
that is the best wide receiving core in the league. You could already say it is now. With just Lockett and Metcalf. Because Metcalf is on pace for like 1,400 yards or like 1,300 yards, something like that.
I think if you're Seattle, the one thing that you're hoping for is to not have in New England.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep him clean, and that was what Kraft and Belichick tried to do in New England. And I think what they're gonna do, they sign him, they bring him in. First day on the job, he walks into the office. You sit him down. You say, we have any more of this shenanigans going on? You done. You done with this league. I think if one more thing comes out about Antonio Brown, he is done. He is done for the rest of his career.
You're absolutely right.
And
there's no one that can argue that.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't see anybody arguing that.
Yeah, no.
This is his third chance in the league.
This is his third chance.
And he cannot get a fourth. If he gets a fourth, that would be the most...
4 chances is way too many.
Decision. That would be the most questionable. You got to have a Kareem Hunt. You got to take your chance.
Yeah, and if it works, which it has for the Browns, I mean, Kareem Hunt has cleaned up his act.
Make it all worth it, you know?
Yeah, you got to make something out of nothing here.
Don't be Josh Gordon.
Don't be Josh Gordon.
Too many chances.
He's gotten like 7 chances now.
It's really sad because he was like Megatron's
biggest
and
here's what, Josh Gordon is also on the Seahawks.
Yep.
And I believe he is also coming off the commissioner exempt list. Let me look this up right now.
This is the thing. I mean, in 2013,
Josh Gordon is suspended. When is his suspension up?
That's the biggest thing. In 2013, Josh Gordon was Calvin Johnson's biggest threat for best receiver in the league. But this guy can't stay off the suspended list. And as Stephen A. Smith said it best, stay off the weed.
This Josh Gordon has had 6 suspensions since 2013. That is unbelievable. So I'm not sure when it said that the Seahawks are confident that Goodell will will reinstate him into the league and he will be able to play on a 1-year deal. I mean, if Josh Gordon can put up half the numbers he was in his first few seasons with Cleveland, you have to take it. Lockett, Metcalf, AB, Gordon. That is unstoppable. How do you guard that? I mean, yet again, Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown are both getting up there in age, but they can still play. I mean, we know AB can still play. We don't know about Josh Gordon, but
I mean, they both kind of have like the same kind of career storyline back then.
Yeah, back then they were unstoppable.
Josh Gordon, arguably the best receiver in the league. Then he had a bunch of suspended problems. Antonio Brown a couple years ago, arguably the best receiver in the league.
Bunch of suspensions.
Suspended problems.
Yeah, obviously for 2 different things, but I mean.
No, of course, very different things, but nevertheless, still both got
yeah,
suspended.
Still very similar careers. Yeah, but and then another older wide receiver getting another shot probably is Dez Bryant. Now he put up 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons with Dallas, back with Tony Romo, and one of those years he had 16 touchdowns. I mean, and he's trying to sign with the Ravens. That is what this is what has come out, and excuse me, but it's with Marquise Brown not playing well. I mean, he's not playing great. I wouldn't say that he's playing poorly. I wouldn't say he's playing great. He's playing okay, average. Willie Snead, you're not getting any production out of him. You are relying too much on Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews, and J.K. Dobbins, who has not been great at all this year. You're relying too heavily on them, and you're not getting any production out of them. at all. None. I mean, Lamar Jackson is still Lamar Jackson, but he's all the talent in the world. But he's not running the ball as much this year.
Last couple of weeks for Lamar.
He's been rough.
Average.
I mean, you gotta hope coming out of the Ravens bye that he comes back, he gets back to 2019 Lamar, MVP Lamar, and with the signing of Dez Bryant, now it is coming out that he would probably be on the practice squad for a couple of weeks, heal up, get back in shape.
They don't know what he's like.
They don't know what he's like.
Been out of the league for a couple of
Yeah, he's been
years.
out of the league for 3 years.
Put him on the practice squad.
See what happens, and if there's another Saints situation, when in first practice he tears his Achilles, then it's not gonna work out. And I think this is Dez Bryant's last chance to prove something, that he still has some gas in the tank.
Well, of course he's already proved a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he had a Hall of Fame career going, and then injuries, man, just derailed his career.
The name of Dez Bryant, he better show that he's a top 10 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
He's got to do that. I get he's old, but he could quite easily slide his way into that number one receiver spot for Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, he's got something to prove. He's got something to prove. But
yeah, he's got a big chip on his shoulder right now because of his age. People don't know what he is anymore.
Yeah.
If he's still a receiver or if he just evolved into
just old, washed up.
Yeah.
No, non-productive. But I mean,
the guy that they lost a bunch of money on.
Yeah. So, Dez Bryant and Antonio Brown both looking to join new teams, could very easily happen. But and then one of the biggest notes coming out of NFL Week 6 is it's Tua time in Miami. I don't get it. Why in the world would you ever do this? I get it. You don't want to waste your 5th overall pick this year, but at the same time, look at what Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing. 1,600 yards. I think he has like 10 touchdowns. The interceptions are high. I mean, that's just what Ryan Fitzpatrick does. He's going to throw 3 touchdowns, but he's also going to throw 2 interceptions every game. Let's see. 1,535 yards, 10 TDs, and 7 interceptions. And you're even getting stuff from him through the ground. 135 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He obviously led the team in rushing yards last year, which is kind of rough, but, we had no rushing game. Which, he even has a reception this year. My man even has a reception this year. But so anyway, it just doesn't make sense. As much as a Miami Dolphins fan, I want Tua to play. It just doesn't make any sense.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think should have been the time frame for Tua to come back? Should he have sat out the whole season?
Okay, this was what I thought since day one he was on the team. I think what would have happened was we play the season, and then as soon as we either make the clinch of the playoffs on the off chance that we do, which was just never going to happen, or we get eliminated from the playoffs. I think as soon as one of those two things happened, that's when we let Tua play.
No. Here's the thing.
Yeah?
The great advantage for Tua playing is he's got Ryan Fitzpatrick behind him.
Yeah,
One of the
so
smartest players in the league.
Oh yeah.
That is a big advantage for Tua.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Fitzpatrick who has as much experience as him and as much intelligence.
Yeah, one of the smartest guys.
It's very tough to beat, and the only arguable player like that is Josh McCown, who's like not even in the league anymore.
Yeah, but it's really it's a questionable situation, because here's the thing: if Tua ends up playing really well and somehow making us to the playoffs, everyone's gonna look back at this and be like, "Oh, that was one of the smartest things ever that Brian Flores will ever do." But we're gonna all forget the fact that everyone was freaking out about it when it was announced, and it just doesn't make sense. Because Fitzpatrick is on a roll. We've won 2 in a row. We spanked the 49ers and Jets. And, we've won 2 out of the last 3. we've had close games. We lost by 8 to Seattle, 11 to New England, and which, I mean, there was a missed pass interference call on Mike Gesicki on like the last drive, but whatever. Um, and then who was our other loss? Who else did we lose? Oh, we lost big time to the Bills, but it's the Bills. But we've had close games with Fitzpatrick, and it's just in we're on a roll. And my dad brought up this point. It's like Minshew and Foles last year. Foles gets injured the first drive of the season for the Jags. Bring in Minshew on a roll. I think they won like 4 out of 6 or whatever. They're on a roll. They're like second or third place in the division. And I mean, last year the AFC South was really good. Texans, Titans, Colts, and Colts, and because the Colts were good last year. Because Andrew Luck was no. I don't know, but that division was really good last year. And then Foles comes back from the broken collarbone. And you're like, we've invested all this money into him. We have to play him. And so he comes back, and the team loses their mojo. They were on a roll with Minshew. They came back from the London game, beat whoever they played, and then you take them out, and the team loses the next 3. And I think that's going to be the same thing with the Dolphins, because they put Minshew back in because, all right, let's hope this lights the spark again, and then it didn't. It just didn't, because Minshew had sat out for those 3 weeks, and Minshew was playing really well, leading the team to victories, like I said. Take him out, team gets all down in the dumps. They've lost like 3 straight games. Put Minshew back in, and he's mad. He has to be mad. And so I think that's going to be the exact same thing with the Dolphins, and I just don't like it. Because now, that division, the Bills have been playing sloppy recently. After the big, enormous loss to the Titans, and then the loss to the Chiefs, we are 1 game out of the division. And, going into the bye, we're going to have time to practice. We're going to have time to game plan for Aaron Donald and the Rams in Week 8. But then you come out, Tua's starting. Which makes it... And then against the Rams of all teams, with Aaron Donald. Why? Why do you want to put a guy who just came off of a gigantic hip injury against the best defensive lineman in the league? One of the strongest guys in the league. One of the most scared against... And the Miami offensive line is not good. It's not good at all. It's probably bottom 10 in the league. And you have Aaron Donald coming out the middle. He's probably going to get sacked like 10 times. You saw what happened with Alex Smith. He played 1 half and got sacked 6 times against the Rams. And now I get it if you're going to do this week 11, week 12, week 13. But why week 8? In the middle of the season, we're on a roll. Fitzy has been playing really well. And now you're just going to ruin it. I mean, people I've seen saying, Rich Eisen was like, why not now? It is because the team is playing good. That's what it comes down to. The team is playing good. And because of that, you have to roll with what is going. If you change something, and then that just throws a wrench in it. And it just doesn't make sense. We should have put him in once we clinched the playoffs on the off chance that we did, or we're eliminated. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And then it was announced it wasn't announced, it got leaked, and which is another thing that I have a problem with. It got leaked. Fitzpatrick had no idea what was happening. Flores hadn't told him. Obviously, Tua didn't know either. So, then you go and watch Fitzpatrick's press conference yesterday, and he sounded genuinely sad. He said, my heart was hurting all day. And it was just, if you haven't watched it, you have to. Fitzpatrick is one of the most liked players in the league. All of his teammates that he's ever played with have all said that. And Fitzpatrick said, I had no clue. My kids had no clue. They were getting told at school that, Ryan Fitzpatrick had been being replaced. And so then Fitzpatrick goes on to say, this was the first team since the Bills, when he played with 2009 to 2012, that he felt like this team was his. And it was his team. It was his team. And then Brian Flores comes out of nowhere. He's like, I'm just going to take you out from this team and let it be Tua's. And then the guy who leaked it, it's like, come on, man. You have to know what, you have to know the situation that's happened. You can't go ahead and leak it and not know that Fitzpatrick hasn't heard, Tua hasn't heard, no one on the team. Brian Flores and I probably guess the front office knew this. I think they were the only people in the world who knew. And then this man, he overheard it. He was like, oh, this is a good story. I gotta report this to everyone. And so Flores is trying to get the guy. He's trying to find him, get him banned from the Dolphins facility, fine him, suspend him, whatever he has to do, because it really just put the team just in total disarray.
Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest things that lead to the talk about no NFL preseason, right? Mm-hmm. So they're kind of blindly putting Tua in only from seeing him in training camp.
Yeah, and in that brief training camp and the practices, and it's he just came off the major hip injury, like I said, and I saw something that he hadn't got hit at all in practice until 3 weeks ago. So you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna start him against Aaron Donald. It just doesn't make sense.
I ain't disagreeing with you at all. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit, but I don't know. I don't know, if Dolphins, go downhill, I think a lot to blame is, I think there could be future locker room issues between, I don't know how the interaction between Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he said on the press conference, he was like, I sat in a Zoom call with the guy. I got fired yesterday, and I sat in the same Zoom call with the guy who fired me and the guy that got hired, and it was one of the most awkward situations I've ever been in. I would have to agree with him. Obviously, I've never had to deal with that. But, if I did, I think that would be pretty awkward,
Yeah, for that long? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 4 hours is not a short amount of time.
I can't be the only one in saying that I'm surprised, that I'm excited to see Tua, but I know I'm also not the only one to see that I'm surprised that Fitzpatrick isn't a starter.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong, I am so excited for Tua. But why now? Why? That's the biggest question you have to ask, is why now? It doesn't make sense.
I think the only thing that Brian Flores thought is that we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's just getting older and older, and then we got a young kid, and I think Flores just felt like he was wasting talent, and he kind of rushed Tua in there.
Yeah, he definitely rushed him. He definitely rushed him
for Tua. Now, if Flores, I love Brian Flores. I think everybody loves.
Yeah, he was really liked in New England. I like his play calling as a head coach. Obviously, I called him out for using Matt Breida. He's gotten better at it over the past few weeks.
If the Dolphins go downhill, I think
you have to put Fitzpatrick back in.
Of course, you got to put Fitzpatrick
because
back in. Now, if it keeps going downhill, it's just.
Then it's a lost season.
Office is rushing too much.
I think if we start to lose games, you put Fitzpatrick back in, and if we continue to lose games, then you put Tua back in. You say it's a lost season. You get ready for next season. I think Fitzpatrick. I think here's the thing. If Tua doesn't play well this year, which I don't think will happen at all, I don't think he's gonna be the best rookie quarterback this year.
But he's not gonna be the worst.
He's not gonna be worst. He's not gonna be the worst player this year. But I think Fitzpatrick, if he doesn't get traded, which he very well might, but I don't think he will because that's dumb. It doesn't make sense. You need a solid backup. I think Fitzpatrick is now the best backup in the league.
Case Keenum.
No, it's not Case Keenum. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Don't kid yourself.
Debate him. Okay, for teaching, of course.
I mean,
Ryan Fitzpatrick, but skill-wise,
okay, Keenum had that one good year in Minnesota, and then they got lucky on that one play against New Orleans.
How old is Fitzpatrick?
He's been in the league 16 years. I think he is I want to say how old is Ryan Fitzpatrick? Let's see. He is 37 years old. Case Keenum is what, 33?
32.
32.
So I find 32.
No, but here's the thing. Fitzpatrick is still showing that he has gas in the tank. He's not done anytime soon.
Fitzpatrick?
No. I think he has another season in him.
You think Case is done?
Maybe.
I hope Case Keenum watches this now.
But so anyway, I think if Tua doesn't play well, then you re-sign Fitzpatrick on a 1-year deal because his contract, we signed him to a 2-year deal. You have, even if he doesn't even hit the field next year, you have to re-sign Fitzpatrick to help Tua in his development into next year. So, I mean, let me know your opinions down in the comments below, what you think of Tua Tagovailoa, and yes, that is how I say it. If you say Tagovailoa, you are incorrect. Tua Tagovailoa being the starter. Let me know what you think about this move in the comments below. And alright, and now on to the MLB with the World Series going on as of right now as we speak. First, let's recap the League Championship Series Game 7s. I think this is first time in MLB history that both have gone to a Game 7. Obviously, in the AL, we have the Rays and Astros. Then in the NL, we had the Braves and Dodgers. And on the AL side, Charlie Morton was dealing for the Tampa Bay Rays into the 6th inning, only throwing 78 pitches through 5 2/3. I think a walk and then a single. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. I would have kept him in. This was a very debated topic on, throughout on different social media platforms. I would have kept him in. I think you have to have trust in him. Charlie Morton is 3-0, now 4-0 in winner-take-all games in the postseason. Game 7s of the League Championship Series and the World Series, and then Game 5 of the Division Series. But he's now 4-0. He was dealing, like I said. He was just dominating the Astros hitters. He was mowing them down, carving them up like Halloween pumpkins. And, I would have kept him in, but Kevin Cash obviously disagreed, and he took him out, went to his bullpen, and Nick Anderson got the job done. He went 1 1/3 innings, and then a couple hits, and then he went back out, and then he gave up a single, and then a walk again, and then Peter Fairbanks came into the game, allowed a walk someone, and then which loaded the bases for Carlos Correa, 2 outs. My heart was beating, man. I was like, oh, I swear if the Astros win this game, man, it would not be a fun time. I don't think it would for any baseball fan. But he got the 2-run single, which put it at 4-2. Rays on top, heading into the bottom of the 8th. Peter Fairbanks came out back into the top of the 9th for the Rays, and he closed the door. He got the save. in ALCS Game 7. But the ALCS MVP goes to Randy Arozarena, and all I'm going to say is he needs to be stopped. He was insane through the first 3 rounds of the postseason. He ended the regular season with being called up. He was on fire, could not get out, and then continued that into the postseason. And he has been slow in the World Series so far, but at any point, you cannot challenge him with a fastball, one of the quickest bats in the entire league. You cannot sneak anything by him. He hits it to all fields. He's been one of the biggest reasons why the Rays have gotten to this World Series and tied it up with the Dodgers at 1-1. And then over in the NL side, we have the Braves and the Dodgers. Now, the Braves are my second favorite team behind the Yankees, and I really wanted them to win. How can you not like that team? Ronald Acuna Jr., Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies. I used to live in Baltimore, so I would see Nick Markakis and Darren O'Day play a lot whenever we would watch the games from home or go to the games. It was really fun. But I'd like to see them succeed. Darren O'Day obviously has that funky delivery, and Nick Markakis, he's a veteran, but he can still get it done. But it didn't matter. Any of the Braves, Cody Bellinger is the hero in that game. Go ahead home run in the bottom of the 8th, and he came back in. He didn't want like those elbow hits with the person on deck, which was Kike Hernandez, and he dislocated his shoulder. It's like, geez, man, don't do that so hard. You don't have to, just chill out. And so he went into the locker room. The training training staff had to pop him back in place, and his press conference after the game, he was like, yeah, they had to pop it back in place. It hurt for a little bit, but I was fine, obviously, as I went out to play defense again. It's just one of those times where you're like, geez, I hope he's okay, but at the same time, all you can do is laugh, because it was on a celebration that happened. But, he's obviously okay now, playing in the first 2 games of the World Series, and I think he's in the lineup for Game 3. But, the Braves could not get it done. One of the biggest base running blunders you will ever see is Dansby Swanson and Austin Riley. It's 2nd and 3rd, no outs for Nick Markakis. Now, like I said, he's not the greatest hitter in the world anymore. He never was, but he was pretty solid. But this year, not so great. But he was up, hits a sharp grounder to Justin Turner. Dansby Swanson is running on contact with no outs, which makes no sense, because even if Nick Markakis grounds out, and then let's say Christian Pache, who was on deck, strikes out, that's still 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs for Ronald Acuna Jr., the top of your lineup, Cunha, Freeman, Ozuna. It just makes no sense. Instead, he runs on contact. Justin Turner makes a diving play, barely gets in his feet. I'm talking by an inch he gets his feet. And then Austin Riley was just standing there. He was just standing there a quarter of the way to 3rd. And, as soon as you see Dansby Swanson run to home, you're off to 3rd. It doesn't matter. It was base running mistake, cost him the game. And, it's, obviously not the result that many, that the Braves fans wanted, but it's the result they got. And, cost him the game. So all you can do now is, get better over the offseason. You have to get over it and come back next year firing on all cylinders. But now into the World Series. This is for all the marbles. Everything is on the line here. Game 1, the Dodgers take it with ease, 8-3. Everyone contributed with their win. Bellinger, Smith, Muncy, Seager, Betts, who had 2 stolen bases, and just everyone in that lineup, 1 through 9, helped with that win. obviously scoring 8 runs, which is, a lot. And, so Kershaw was lights out, absolutely dominant for the Dodgers, but just wait till he implodes. I'd say give it till Game 5 when he blows up. But going into this series, I predicted the Dodgers taking it in 6 games. As of right now, that could still happen. But with Game 2, the Dodgers lose. So no sweep this time in the World Series. The Rays won that game 6-4. 2 home runs, 3 RBIs from Brandon Lau. Finally, doing something in this postseason. He has been quiet. He's quiet against the Blue Jays, quiet against the Yankees, quiet against the Astros, but finally breaking out of his shell, hitting 2 home runs, like I said, into an easy victory for the Rays. Blake Snell had not allowed a hit through 5 2/3 until a 2-out 2-run home run by Chris Taylor, which opened the scoring for the Dodgers. They went on to score 2 more runs, but the Rays behind Brandon Lau get it done. Now, Game 3, we have Walker Buehler versus Charlie Morton. This is going to be a good game, as any World Series game is. I think this game is going to come down to the bullpen. These are 2 very talented starters, and Charlie Morton is brilliant in the postseason, proving it with the Astros and now with the Rays. But I expect this to come down to the late innings, innings 7, 8, 9. I believe now the Rays will be the home team, but yet again, not really home field advantage, as they are playing in Texas in the Rangers' new stadium. Beautiful stadium. But I believe the Rays are now the home team, because I think it's 2-3-2 like it always is. And let's see, yes, Rays are the home team here. So, I don't know. This is going to be a good game, obviously. Going to come down to the late innings. Which bullpen is going to falter first? And, I don't know. It's a good game, and I highly recommend watching it. So, World Series Game 3 tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. And that's all I got for the MLB postseason. So that is going to do it for this week's episode of the New Flame Sports Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like what we're doing here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you next week for episode number 8.